You see, we are created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers. Free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. It takes guts. It takes goals. Now, do you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, my God, I'm going to change something. Now we say, keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you, and therefore you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Now all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You've got to create a sense of urgency. I'm going to do it right now.
If you can see it, you can do it. But the beautiful truth is you can do anything. We got to know there is a place. There is a specific frequency. And if you get on that frequency, you're going to attract what you need to you. This is what it's all about. Why have you been endowed with such awesome powers? If you'll make a committed decision, this I'm going to do. And you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how. The second you make the committed decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that you have to be on to attract what you have to attract to manifest the thing that you want. If you can see it, you can do it. It's got to be something you want. Wants come from inside. Act like you're already there. Walk, talk, speak, live like you're already there. Don't set a small goal. Don't set something that doesn't really wind your stem. Set it so big it jazzes you. It really gets you going. When something of a very high nature resonates with the very high side of you, you'll know it. You'll know it. You will feel it. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. The only prerequisite, do you want it? Not do you need it, not could you do it. The only prerequisite is, do you want it? Take the lid off your marvelous mind and dream. For goodness sake, give yourself the right to do that. Get your analytical mind out of the way. Put it in your pocket for a while. All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. What did Lawrence say? All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind waken the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. This I did.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Freedom, Health and Lifestyle. Of course, I'm here with my good friend Joye Maka Unga. Joey, the $1 million difference maker Maka Unga, as we like to call him here. And this is episode 132, Paradigm Shift, an in-depth explanation, part 2. Of course, we were listening to Bob Proctor there last week. But you know, this show's all about thinking and doing better. And that's really what we're trying to learn. We're trying to learn how to, think better, how to do better, how to be better, all of these things. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, click that notification button. You'll learn when we're on, usually around about the same time every week. Although that's different if you're in the States, because we're an hour earlier, right? And of course, the clocks are changing for us, I think, at the end of this month for Joey, early into April. I don't know why they do that, Joe. I really don't. Joe, say hello.
Hey, Mike. Good day, everyone. This is Joye Maka Unga here from Sydney, Australia. First of all, I'm so happy, grateful to be here with my good friend Mike McGillian. Funny enough, I was watching some footy on the weekend and watched some of Ireland. I think they play against Scotland, I believe. Yeah, good game, good tough game. But it's always every time something come up with Ireland, guess who's the first person come to my mind? my good friend Mike McKinnon. And I think same thing what happened when something happened in Australia come up on the picture. Mike will remember someone in Australia, and I have no idea. I have no doubt it will definitely he was thinking of me. So Mike, thanks for having me today. Looking forward to add value in some way. And thanks for our audience, the people who checking out our work, our archive. Like Mike said, we are all here to think better and hopefully to do better. And also when we do better, we might be able to feel better. So Mike, ready to go.
Brilliant. And don't forget, you can find Joye on Facebook at facebook.com/joye.unga. And again, on his business website page, joyeunga1.isogenics.com. So go and check him out, and of course, look, Joe, we're watching this Bob Proctor. We're about halfway through this video. We should get through to the end of it today, where he really gets in deep, in about how to change your paradigm, or even what a paradigm shift, even what that is. So, but anyway, listen, let's get into it, and we shall see, and hopefully we'll have some insights into this. I didn't even know what a paradigm was until a couple of years ago, and sometimes I think, and this is stupid really, but sometimes I think, ignorance is bliss. Do you know what I mean? Just to go through life, because once we become aware of this stuff, it's like there's no hiding places, there's no excuses. You just, you're like, oh my God, it's all my fault, right? Everything is my fault, everything that you have in your life, you have it because you want it, even the bad things. Do you know what I mean? Because you asked for them. And, it's about changing your mind, changing your paradigm. But, it's so difficult to do when you're having these repetitive, habitual thoughts all the time. It does help being around people like yourself, who do think differently, who have changed their life. Do you know what I mean? For the better, so that you can learn from those people. And I'm looking forward to your final thoughts, as I do every week. But again, right, let's get into this. Let's see if we can do this. We'll see where we fall.
I knew I wasn't lucky. And I heard about a man in Vancouver.
So if you remember, Joe, last week he was talking about, he got to the stage where he wanted to know why he changed. Like he'd had this success, started a cleaning company, and within a couple of years, he was turning over, millions of euros. He had locations in, Chicago, in Canada, in the UK, several of these. And he decided that he wanted to go and work with Cohen, can't remember his first name, and of course Earl Nightingale, because he wanted to understand why he changed. And this is where we're at in this recording.
Somebody said, Bob, you should go and listen to him. So I got on a plane and I flew out to Vancouver. At the end of the seminar, when the guy...
Business owners and salespeople, if you want to experience massive confidence and quickly break through to the next level, the quickest...
I got on the stage, I knew that he knew what he was talking about. There was just such certainty in his talk. And so at the end of the seminar, I said, I would like to sit down with you for a couple hours. But he said, I'd like to probably sit down with you for a couple hours. But he looked at his watch, I got to get out of here. And I said, I got to go now too. He said, where are you going? I said, I'm going back to Chicago. He said, what are you doing out here? I said, I come out to hear you speak. Now, I think he was impressed that I had traveled so far to listen to him. So I said, look, I'm not going to be in Chicago anytime in the near future, but I'm going to be in Toronto. And I said, I'm from Toronto. I'll fly over. I'll meet you over there. And so the two of us sat down in the Skyline Hotel. And we were there. We were supposed to be 3 hours. We were there for about 3 days. And he and I were as thick as thieves right up until he died. Now, he introduced me to this idea that I'm going to introduce you to. And what I'm going to show you is, without question, the most powerful idea I have ever learned. And if you don't understand this, the odds of you making great changes are very, very slim. I want you to look at the mind and then look at paradigms. But let's personalize it. Let's look at your mind and your paradigm. Now, let that drawing represent your mind. That, by the way, is the most valuable concept I have ever learned. There's the conscious mind, the subconscious, and the body. Okay? Now, the conscious mind is the thinking mind. Do you know that the average person does not think? Do you know that thinking is a subject that's not taught in school? You'll say everybody thinks. Hardly anyone thinks. I remember old Nightingale used to say, if the average person said what they were thinking, they would be speechless. Do you know what we do? We confuse mental activity with thinking. That's not thinking. Listen to what most people are saying. They'd never say what they're saying if they were thinking. Watch their behavior. They'd never do what they were doing if they were thinking. Back in 1981, I picked up a paper from Dr. Lawrence Rampell. Listen to what he said. Thinking is a skill which can be learned just as we learn skills such as typing and playing the piano. Few public schools offer courses devoted expressly to teaching thinking. Rather, we are expected to learn and teach thinking as a byproduct of learning mathematics, reading, history, science, a trade, and so forth. And we do learn a lot about thinking in that way. The trouble is we learn our thinking skills in bits and pieces, and we never put it together as an overall picture. If asked to describe what all is required in order to think effectively, most of us would be at a loss to give a complete account. Thus, we are unable to assess our own thinking skills or systematically teach the skill of thinking to others. Well, it's with your conscious mind you think. This is also what we call the educated mind. And I'm going to come back to that because I'm going to show you just how far off track we get with that. Now, this is where our intellect is resident. And it's the intellectual factors that give you the ability to be the creative ability. You say you're created in God's image? Well, that's where the creative faculty comes in. In our intellectual factors, you have perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, intuition. Now, the subconscious mind is quite different from the conscious mind. That's what we call the emotional mind. See, the conscious mind can think, so therefore you have the ability to choose. You literally choose where you're going. Now, the choice may be unconscious, but it is a choice. You have the ability here to accept or reject information. When we see something come on the news about the economy's taking a dive, say maybe for them or you, but not for me. You've got the ability to reject information. Somebody starts to tell you a bad story, reject it. Now think. You have the ability to accept or reject in your conscious mind. You have the ability to originate ideas in your conscious mind. You can originate any idea you want. Now, your subconscious mind has no ability to reject. It must accept. And here's something else. Whatever's placed in the subconscious mind is going to dictate your world. It really will. And your imagination or your subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what you imagine and what's real. So if you imagine something happening and you get emotionally involved, it's actually starting to happen. You may say, well, that's ridiculous. Well, the Wright brothers didn't think so. Ed Hillary didn't think so. Steve Jobs didn't think so. Think about it. Thomas Edison didn't think so. Alexander Graham Bell. See, we listen to them and think, well, they're different. No, they're not different. They're exactly the same as you and me. Now look here for a moment. I've given you the basics about the mind. Now let's look at this. Today, you're being inundated with information in your conscious mind from radio, from other people, from TV, from newspapers. And you have the ability, because you have a reasoning factor, you have the ability to think. And you can say, I don't want that information. I'm not accepting that. And you can cause it to go away. But you know something? We don't do that. Not only don't we not do that, we don't even think about it. We don't even think. Why? We leave our mind wide open. And it goes right in. What we say about the subconscious, it has no ability to reject. It must accept. Why do we do that? Because we're programmed to do it. That's why we do it. That's our paradigm. How did that happen? How did it happen that we go around leaving our subconscious mind wide open? Because it's what's going on in the subconscious that dictates what you do. Well, let's look at it for a minute. Let's close the window here and open it over here. Now, I'm hoping you're paying attention to this because this could be worth millions to you. It can cause you to live in a healthier body. It can cause you to build your business. See, this is you as an infant. Not today. This is you as an infant. And what's going on? Whatever's happening around you goes right into your subconscious mind. And it just keeps going in over and over and over. See, you're programmed genetically. That's why you look like your relatives. There's a little particle of energy from mom and a little particle of energy from dad came together. And that was the nucleus of you. And 280 days later, you made your debut on the planet. But you have all that DNA, moms and dads, going back for generations. You're genetically programmed. Many of your beliefs have just been passed from one generation to the next. And many of them are absolutely ridiculous. Well, you see, your self-image is formed when you're in your little life, when you don't even have the ability to think. Now, self-image is just one idea. A multitude of ideas are a paradigm. Look at the people we're surrounded by. Robert Heinlein said, in absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until ultimately we become enslaved by it. Now think about that. In absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until ultimately we become enslaved by it. Now think of the number of people that you know that are enslaved to daily trivia. They talk about nothing. They never accomplish anything. They get the same results. If they're short money now, they were short a year ago. They were short a year before that. They're forever getting a car on payment. The idea of going writing a check is just out of their mind.
You introduce your buddy to TTF St. Louis. Whoa. He goes on the site.
Why? Well, you see, that's probably what the people were doing that we surrounded by as we were little kids. And the ideas that just keep going in over and over and over again form the paradigm. A paradigm is nothing but a multitude of ideas that are fixed in the subconscious mind. And so here we are, as hard as it is to believe, 20, 30, 50, 60 years later, living exactly the same as we were programmed when we were little kids. Do you know that most people on welfare are fourth, fifth generation welfare recipients? It's rather strange. Now, what do? Well, we leave this situation and we go to school. What does school do? Well, let's look at it. School gave us valuable knowledge.
Joe, give us your thoughts quickly on what you're watching here. I think I'm going to go back and watch watch that again, because it's fascinating understanding the how the paradigm is built. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's important to try and understand how it's built, the beliefs and values that maybe you inherit from growing up. How to I think you've got to try and understand it to be able to break it, right? And some of this stuff doesn't, some of the way that you think, and you're not even, and as he's describing, you're not even thinking, you're just on autopilot. Do you know what I mean? You're just on autopilot doing these things, that you habitually have always done, and trying to change that, to shatter that former self, you've got to break that self-image, the former self-image. Do you know what I mean? Like, give me your thoughts.
Yeah. One of my first job after high school was a computer technician, Mike, and we built computer from scratch, like, motherboard, the cases, the power supply, and, other drive like the CD-ROM. They all come in a different component, and we just put them together for a customer or clients. And before that computer become, have variable to the marketplace, it has to be a program that instill inside. And we do that by loading some software in a form of CD. And whatever we loaded in that computer motherboard or system, that's exactly when they turn it on, that's exactly what they display and what the user can able to work with a new computer. And it's funny, when I come across this idea and talk about and study under Bob Proctor, and he mentioned about paradigm a lot, it take me a while to understand. But as I reflect on my journey, the computer itself, the component itself, the motherboard itself, it's useless until there is a program that instill for all the components to work together. And that's exactly, what he said. Our paradigm is a multitude of ideas. And that's the program that was instilled to us since from very young age, even before we born. It's very true. What the mom do, like if the mom she's a gossip, the baby will grow up she's a gossip. If the mom is a hard work, kind, and loving person, the baby will come up. Because that's why we have to be careful what we say. We have to be careful what our thinking, if especially as a mom. And that is including too, because we're part of the creation. That, like he mentioned on that uh, on his show, that a part of dad DNA from dad, DNA from mom come together, and then the baby form. But before the baby came out to this world, it's already programmed by what the mom think, what the mom do, what the mom feeling, you know, and also with the parents. So, and when the baby come out, the environment is changed. You got sibling, got cousin, got uncles, auntie. The community, the church, the Sunday school, whatever. And the school they went to. That's all contribute to program them until the person, the child become a mature and and through education, she or he realize, hey, I'm not going to follow what everyone will follow. I'm not going to do what everyone going to do. I have to change something. And before we started, I was listening to an audio interview. It's a podcast. One of the guy from our professional, he was a cleaner too. And what he does, he just listened to El Nightingale, the Strangest Secret, and while he was doing his cleaning. And it's funny because it's related to what Bob's story is. And his wife used to criticize him and told him, why are you listening to those nonsense? And he said, I guess I just feel good when I listen to it and doing my work. And then he's now one of the top earner in the company that he's built with. And he looked back, and one of his testimony, it's even though he was a cleaner, moving from office to office, but he was programmed his mind all the time through the thing that he listened to. And we absorb the information through what we see, what we hear, what we taste, and what we touch every day. And it's so powerful, this concept, because that's why a lot of people struggle in life to move forward or make decisions to change their situation or circumstances in life, because they haven't made that decision to change that program. And we know that change that program through education, reading, go and find someone that's already success in that field and ask question or listen to them, or maybe invest some capital to learn more, but the main thing is to reprogram the way we're thinking. Because if we
I do like the way you put it, Joe. When you call it the operating system.
yes,
Because and that's a really good way of describing it. Because the operating system kind of just runs in the background, right? And then everything is loaded through that operating system. So if you wanted to run some of the programs, they run through that operating system. Which is, when you think of the subconscious mind as that operating system, if it's got viruses in it, you're screwed.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
So, and it probably does have viruses in it, like procrastination, laziness, other things that, fears, self-limiting beliefs.
mm,
Self-limiting beliefs could be a virus that's running, in your operating system, and that's why it's so important that what you're talking about is the reprogramming of it, like putting in new programs, new files, malware to clean it all up. Do you know what I mean? The likes of Earl Nightingale, The Greatest Secret, audio books, or even just reading books, The Science of Getting Rich, Think and Grow Rich. All of these kind of, can help, clean up those viruses, and update the operating system,
yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, no, I love the way you put that. But again, give me your thoughts on, when you were saying that, Hardly anyone thinks, and I would agree with that. Hardly anyone thinks. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I think most people are just on autopilot. They're just doing the home to work routine, eat, sleep, repeat.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you remember the strangest secret from El Nightingale. On the first part of it, I think a doctor was interviewed by someone, and he asked, "What's wrong with the men nowadays?" And he said, "The only thing that's wrong with the men nowadays, they don't think."
Mm.
And you know, it's so true in a lot of ways because, like you said, we program to follow the mess. Whatever my parents doing, I will do the same thing. Whatever my friends and Bob's story was reflected. He went to the Navy because his friend went to the Navy, but
Mm.
but that's not what he really want. you know we start to thinking when we are aligning what we really want with our desire, with what we really want in life. And I think he said it is the clearly defined goals, and I think that's what I wrote down. If the main reason why people are not thinking because they don't have goals or define clearly defined goals. And that's why it's like the ship and the plane, when they left a destination, they have another destination, and they already have a map and a GPS that the route to go to, whether they can stop over in in um, in Malaysia before they can go to UK, or when they come from UK to Sydney, whether they can stop in Singapore before they. So it's already clear, the pilot already clear know the routes and where they are heading. We are going to Australia, but of course, this is the routes that we are going to, and we're going to stop over in this place for how long, and then we go. Same thing with us, and I can testify on that. As soon before I invest in property, before I was looking at it was one day that I was on a bus. I was sick and tired of travel 1.5 hour each way, public transport. Wake up early, 5:30 in the morning to catch a train in 6:30, so I can get to work at 7 or 7:30. And the routine was every day. You know, train, bus to work, and the same thing after work, bus, train to home. Yeah. And I was on the train or the bus, and I was looking the window, and I said to myself, what do I really want? You know, what I really want? Do I want to be like this forever? Or better start doing something, because we're not getting younger anymore. Time is a flying, and time, a lot of time that we look back and said, man, all those years have been gone, and I haven't been start. So as soon I got that, I start to think about, abundance. I think about, have a financial freedom, or have a lifestyle, different lifestyle. Then after I got phone call. I got phone call one day, because I start to attracting this. I start to reprogram my mind, and I start to look at the books, um, and I start reading books, on my way to work, and then listen to some motivation thing. And then I all of a sudden a phone call rang up, and he invited me to a workshop about investing and about creating wealth through property. Then I said to myself, man, maybe this is the reason, because I didn't know, because that's the like a law of attraction that I but because I already start to clearly want to do it, I didn't want to, I came from nothing. I'm the youngest in the 11 sibling. I know I have nothing in my dad's asset and stuff like that back home. So I have to build my own. I said to myself, I come with nothing. I won't die with nothing. I want to leave something to do better to this world, whether it's for my kids or my grandkids or something like that. So, and I start to thinking in a certain way, start to listen in a certain way, start to read, share and go and seek and knock, you know, and then it start from there. But because I have a clearly mind, I didn't want to live like this. I didn't want to pay the bill and just, never go travel somewhere, that I want to go. So things start to change. And you know, and I know, you have to make a decision. And you said it's the choice. And I think that's the difference between human being and an animal. The only a living thing in this world that different is us, because we have a decision. We make decisions because Bob said, when we are thinking, that's when we are real human. We're not thinking we like animal. We just follow what the other way. We follow the back. We follow the sheep. We follow the, you know. So when you thinking, you start to take full responsibility of your destination, where I want to go, what I want to accumulate, what I want to have, the people I want to surround with myself with. And as soon as I do that, my whole world changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously you're sitting on that bus and you're not daydreaming, you're actually thinking, that thought process, and you know that you're made of more, and you're obviously having this thought, and you're thinking about change, and you're asking yourself questions. How do I achieve that change? Interesting, that the subconscious mind can only accept, whereas the thinking mind can reject. And this is the funny thing, because we are bombarded, with newspaper, radio, social media, all kinds of things, and we do leave the door open to be affected by that, to be affected, to be scared, or to feel vulnerable, or whatever else, and it's in those moments when you have to almost stop and say, hold on a second, I don't want to, I'm not thinking like that. I'm not feeling like that, and that's where you start to, then create your own reality. And I'm not talking about a delusion. I'm talking about what you were talking about, sitting on the bus, starting to create and manifest the reality that you want. Obviously there was probably some actions that you made or took for that phone call to happen, but it happened, and then you have to be open to walk through that door. Do you know what I mean? And go and find out more and learn more. It's not easy, to challenge yourself in that way.
Absolutely.
Because of the paradigm, because of, maybe being told as a youngster that you can't do that, or people like us don't get those types of things. Do you know what I mean? Money doesn't grow on trees, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I personally believe that money probably does grow on trees, really. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday.
The paper.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and we sent them a quote, and it's quite a lot of money, and they were like, "Oh, it's a lot of money. Is there anything you can do for us?" Do you know what I mean? I'm like, "Well, no, not really, because we have to pay all these people, and to be honest, we're not charging you probably as much as what we should, and everything else like this." And the person, we were talking away, and she was like, "Oh my God, your company sounds amazing, and the fact that you're paying those people and you're paying them, really well is great." And the lady just convinced herself that the price was the right price and everything else, even though she didn't really want to pay that much. And she's like, like, how do you do it? How do you do that? I said, well, she said, because I just feel like I'm spending a lot of money. I said, well, you're not really spending money. What you're doing is you're circulating it. Like you're giving it to me and I'm giving it to somebody else, and it's going around in a circle, and it's going to come back to you at some stage. And she's like, what? I said, yeah. I said, you're circulating it.
Yeah.
I said, and by circulating it, you're leaving the door open for money to come back to you, rather than just spending it. You're giving it away. You're feeling negative about that process. Do you know what I mean? You feel bad about it. You're closing the door to it coming back. So she said, "Oh, I'm so excited. When can we meet up so we can circulate some money?" Right? Amazing. I love it. Right. So I'm happy to do that. But that's what it's about. And that's, and this is why words are important, Joe. Words are so important. The words that you use, on yourself, that reflection inside, comes outside. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't stay inside, it comes out. So, there's no doubt about it, that thinking, that, the subconscious being emotional, can only accept, can't reject, You know, you have to guard your mind. You've talked about this before, about guarding your mind, you know, and at the same time, you still have to be open to failure, to getting it wrong, you know, but understanding that, you know, failure is just, you know, your first attempt in learning. Do you know what I mean? It's just an opportunity to learn from it. So you don't have to be afraid of it. You know, you almost have to welcome it. Do you know what I mean? You have to welcome those learning attempts, you know, to get better. And that's what it's all about. Like, you know, like there's no doubt that I'm sure that in your career, you've made wrong decisions, you've made bad decisions, but you learn from them. Do you know what I mean? Well, there's no growth without learning. Do you know, there's no growth without failure. You've got to fail, you know, in order to grow, to learn, to become better. And yeah, to be honest, it's a lot to take in. But I do like the operating system. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to steal that from myself.
Yeah, and taking back to the time with the computer technician and building computers, you can upgrade a operating system on a piece of computer at that time, you know, and you know the way to do it is just get a software that have a higher version than the version before, and you overwrite the old version of the operating system there. So you know, it's the same when we apply to our real world ourselves. We just have to apply the person that we want to upgrade to is a new version of us. Whether it's, you know, we start with 1.0, have to be 1.2. You know, we can't just upgrade a new software by 1.0. You have to be 1.2, 1.3.
This is exactly what that video talks about. Act, walk, talk like you're already there. This is that higher version of yourself. You know, that, you know, upgrading yourself, upgrading your operating system. You know, it starts in here, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? It starts by thinking that into existence. This is exactly what you've done. You know, when you think about, you know, where you were, where you are now. But where you are now isn't where you want to end up. You've still got more to do. We've all still got more to do. And yeah, I like that higher version. In fact, Bob did a video about that, about being a higher version of yourself. So yeah, it's fascinating stuff, Joey. You know, this thinking, you know, I need to practice my thinking. I need to learn about this thinking skills. I need to find out more about this.
We all do.
You know, yeah, I think I'm thinking, and then I'm wondering, am I thinking at all? Do you know what I mean? But again, it comes back to what we were talking about a couple of weeks back with these brain waves, you know, this beta slave wave. Do you know what I mean? This is where we're probably spending most of our thinking time, but we're not actually thinking. We're just, you know, we're in that operating system and it's just running on autopilot. Do you know what I mean? It's doing its daily functions, you know, and being constantly, you know, under attack from different viruses, malware, and whatever else, you know. And we're not in that theta or in that alpha state where we're actually creating something, where we're doing something, where we're being creative, actually thinking. Yeah, makes sense. Right, I'm going to watch a bit more of this. I've gone back a little bit because do you know when I was watching it, you know, my brain went off somewhere, do you know, thinking about something, you know, and then when I came back, I'm like, I've just missed like 2 minutes of that. What was that about? Right.
It happened.
It does.
Because this could be worth millions to you. It can cause you to live in a healthier body. It can cause you to build your business. See, this is you as an infant, not today. This is you as an infant. And what's going on? Whatever's happening around you goes right into your subconscious mind. And it just keeps going in over and over and over. See, you're programmed genetically. That's why you look like your relatives. There's a little particle of energy from mom and a little particle of energy from dad came together. And that was the nucleus of you. And 280 days later, you made your debut on the planet. But you have all that DNA, moms and dads, going back for generations. You're genetically programmed. Many of your beliefs have just been passed from one generation to the next. And many of them are absolutely ridiculous. Well, you see, Your self-image is formed when you're in your little life, when you don't even have the ability to think. Now, self-image is just one idea. A multitude of ideas are a paradigm. Look at the people we're surrounded by. Robert Heinlein said, in absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until ultimately we become enslaved by it. Now think about that. In absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until ultimately we become enslaved by it. Now think of the number of people that you know that are enslaved to daily trivia. They talk about nothing. They never accomplish anything. They get the same results. If they're short money now, they were short a year ago. They were short a year before that. They're forever getting a car on payment. The idea of going and writing a check is just out of their mind. Why? Well, you see, that's probably what the people were doing that we surrounded by as we were little kids. And the ideas that just keep going in over and over and over again form the paradigm. A paradigm is nothing but a multitude of ideas that are fixed in the subconscious mind. And so here we are, as hard as it is to believe, 20, 30, 50, 60 years later, living exactly the same as we were programmed when we were little kids. Do you know that most people on welfare are fourth, fifth generation welfare recipients? It's rather strange. Now, what do? Well, we leave this situation and we go to school. What does school do? Well, let's look at it. School gave us valuable knowledge. However, school never taught us anything about paradigms. Therefore, we frequently do not do what we already know how to do. Now think, superior knowledge. Think about it. Inferior results. What does that do? That causes confusion and frustration. Now think about this for a moment. We've gathered great knowledge, but we know nothing about the paradigm. So watch here. Here's the drawing. There's the model. There's all the knowledge we got in school. We've got it packed in there. But you know something? It doesn't equate to the results we're getting. You're going to find absolutely brilliant people getting very bad results. You're going to find people that are brilliant. They know exactly what to do, but they don't do it. Why? It's the paradigm that controls the behavior. Now listen, I've studied this for over half a century. I have no formal education. I have no business experience. I earn millions of dollars. I'm 81 years old. I've got more energy than most people that are 21. I have a sister-in-law that says he's 81, he looks about 60, and he's actually he's about 30. Well, she did that down pretty good because that's just about the way it is. Why? It's because I understand how to use the mind. Now look, if you want to change your results, if you really want to change the results, there's something that you've got to do. You've got to know how to change the paradigm. And if you don't change the paradigm, I don't care what, nothing's going to happen. You find people going back to school because they think if I got some more knowledge. No, you're not short on knowledge. We're short on behavioral patterns. And that's really what we have to do.
You're mute.
Rookie mistake.
We have to. We have to.
So, can't be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
But we're left with the question, how to change the paradigm. And I think we know how to do that. Books, tapes, audios, associations, dreams and goals. I think discipline, but it all comes down to change, and asking yourself that question, what do I want? And then making a committed decision, to do it, to be honest, there's no doubt when you're learning this stuff, when you're thinking about this stuff, you do come to the point when you realize that you're just screwed. Because if you're not doing it, it's on you, right? It's no one else to fucking blame apart from yourself, And, look, it's okay to give yourself a pat on the back when you do something well. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, you don't want to be ignorant to the fact that sometimes you need to give yourself a good kick up the arse as well. Do you know what I mean? You know, because the truth is, no one is going to do it for you. They're not. No one's going to do it. You know, yeah, you're gonna work in the, you know, in the dark almost. No one's going to see what you're going through, and then when you do get a result, you know, everybody's like, "Oh, look at Joey, you know, big for his boots now." Do you know what I mean? Like, realize all the effort you've been putting in, all the work that you've been putting in to do something, you know.
Yeah,
But a lot
absolutely.
of the stuff that you're doing is, you know, you're not doing it just for yourself. You're doing it for your family. You're doing it for the community. You're doing it to make a difference for people. You know, like you building apartments or building houses, you know, is giving someone a home, right? So
Yeah.
it serves more than just you.
Mm.
So, like, there's no doubt that, you know, thinking about this stuff, that higher version of yourself, upgrading your operating system, the paradigm. When do you stop? When do you stop? Do you know what I mean? Because your paradigm is always gonna be shifting, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? To be honest, I don't know. What do you do? How do you deal with this? Do you sit down and write down, you know, the pros and cons of what you think about yourself, you know, or where you see yourself, or do you just kind of scrap all that and say, "Oh, hold on, I'm going to write a future vision for myself, what it is that I want," which brings me back to Think and Grow Rich, you know, chief aim statement. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have, you know, by this day, and then, you know, read it every day, morning and night, you know, just as you have, you know, with your goal card, as you probably have in front of you. Yeah, you know, so these are important things. You know, like when you talk about your goal card, there's no doubt that, you know, you had some of those stuff before the time had even elapsed when you said that you had it. And I think about when I started my business, and I had a very detailed kind of plan as to what we were going to do, how we were going to do it, how much money we were going to make. Truth is, a lot of that stuff we didn't even do. We just got to how much money we were making. Things changed along the way. Do you know what I mean? We met the goals, but how we got there was different to how I envisaged it. Do you know what I mean? But we still got there. So yeah, it's you know, yeah, this is interesting. I'm excited to get your final thoughts, Joe. And of course, don't forget, this is Joey, the $1 Million Difference Maker, Maka Unga. He loves that. Yeah, I'm going to get him the T-shirt. And don't forget, you can find Joey on Facebook, right? In fact, I'm just going to share this. Yeah, so you can find Joey here on Facebook. This is one of the places where you can find him, right? $1 Million Difference Maker, Maka Unga. You know, has a lot of content, a lot of posts. Look at this. You know, CEO Weekly magazine. Are you joking? Come on, look at that. Right? You know, so there's a lot going on here. So go and check out Joey. Go and follow him on Facebook. A lot of our friends there too. Amazing. And again, you can also find him here, which is his business page, Isogenic. So if you're looking to, you know, maybe just look better, feel better, move better, do better, you know, look and feel the best you felt in a decade, go and check it out. You can work with Joey directly and get the help you need, you know, to get in the best shape that you need to be in, whether it's physical or mental. You know, you can go and get involved. And of course, you can find me if you're looking for me. You can find me, you know, on my website. You know, go to petsofthesisland.com. You know, we've got an Academy of Excellence where you can learn about starting your own business, where we coach you and help you. Best thing about this is you get to keep every penny that you earn. We don't take anything from you. And of course, you can go and book a call if you just want to catch up. You can go to my Calendly, book a call, and we can have a conversation. If you're just curious about starting a pet business, you know, we can have a no pressure chat, and I'll be the first to tell you if it's not right for you. So go and check us out, check Joey out, and let's see if we can make a difference in your life. Because that's what it's about, Joey. So it is about making a difference in somebody else's life. You know, like you get what you give, and you're giving. You know, you're giving to people, helping them. to make their life better. We're doing the same things, just with a different model. But again, the Academy of Excellence, we're going to network market that. It's going to be incredible. I love the idea of it. Lots of people doing little bits and making a difference for themselves and for friends, family, community. People love their pets. Do you know what I mean? They really do. So why not? Right, Joe, let's get Joey's final thoughts, because, I'll learn as much from Joey's final thoughts as I have done from the Bob Proctor video. But anyway, I'm excited to hear what Joye, $1 million difference maker, Maka Unga, has to say. And right, take it away, Joey.
Thanks, Mike. And I think, Mike, you've done a magnificent work with the pet industry in Ireland. I think your work and your service has been make a big difference. People's homes and people's their loved ones, including their pets. And Mike, keep up the good work. You're always a vision. You always create new things to override the old style of way of working or providing service for our community, and especially in Ireland. So I'm very, very proud of you and very grateful for you together in the journey. Please check it out, Mike work. He will give you 100% of his support, consultant, and whatever you want to accomplish, he might be able to help you shift or change your paradigm. And we all know from Bob Proctor tonight, paradigm is a multitude or collecting of ideas that's already been fixed in your brain or your mind. And we know from our teaching tonight that mind is no longer one part, it's come with two parts. And mind is not the physical part that we think about it, but it's actually the activity that around it. It's around our mind. And we all know from the illustration that I talk, in the computer, if you build a new computer, it's come with a motherboard, power supply, CD drive, and other component, network drive cards, and something like that. But they all put together, but to make that computer usable or very friendly for the marketplace, there is a program, it's called operating system, that we install. And it's the same way. When a child came to this world, there is a program, it's already installed by the mom, by the dad from the womb before they get out to the world. And when they get out to the world, there's a more fixed ideas mounting into their mind. And that child will grow up and go to school and collect more information until one day he take a look and stop and pause and think, why should I change this? Why can't I change this? And I think one of the big questions that I learned in my journey, personally and professionally journey, don't ask, what can I do, but is how can I do it? How can I change the circumstance of my life? How can I change my health? How can I change my financial situation, my future career? It's come down to personal development, and we all know without personal development, because we all know, Mike and myself know, that the income that we earn is based on the level of the paradigm shift that we do. The more we shift our operating system in our mind, and we do the thing that we have to do to execute to get that plan. Because when you change your paradigm, you change the goals, you change the post, you change the destination that you've been growing up and thought, this is where I'm going to be. This is my destination that I'm going to end up. My parent was a bakery, I'm going to end up like a bakery. My parents was a hard work, I can end up just hard work. But you can change it. Bob and Think and Grow Rich talk about, not only hard work and great wealth for you. A lot of people nowadays, they use their skill, they use their experience, they use their expertise to provide a service or a product that add value to people's life nowadays. And the people who add more value, like Elon Musk and um, Jeff Bezos, for just a few example, they're the people who earn a lot of money because they provide service, provide value to the marketplace, and because they do that, the compensate the marketplace will compensate them. So tonight we talk about how Bob split up the mind, the conscious mind. Very important for us, to aware that in our mind there's part of our mind that can receive through our senses, through our eyes, through our ears, the information, whether it's from the news, what happened nowadays, the change in technology, the AI. It can be overwhelm our brain and our mind, but we forgot that we control our future, we control our result, because nothing else. And I think Mike talked about it. No one else will um, give you the result that you want, give you the health that you want, or give you the wealth that you want in life. You have to take full responsibility. And take full responsibility, I learned from Jim Rohn, is when you become mature. Because when you become mature, you are a thinker. Just get along, just go with the flow. People who stop and really think and decided to have a clearly defined goals in their life, they are the people who see them change. And I think Mike talk about how can you change your paradigm. We all know that by education, through reading books, listen to audio, uh, go to an event and learn from other people's experience, or other people make a mistake. And also, you know, one thing I want to add to that, you have to execute. And I think I get execute from Tony Robbins teaching. We can think, but if we don't put what we think and desire into action and go after it, um, we won't be able to change much in our paradigm. We have the ideas, but we have to execute the idea. And most of the time, we don't take the action because we have fear of failure, we fear of success, we fear of what other people think. But if we really, really look at ourselves and said, am I the best version of myself today? Am I the best version that my kids want to see me? As I'm the best version that my employee want to see me? Am I the best version of leadership that my team or my organization or my business partner want to see me? Then you go out and face your fear right in the eye. And the only way that Bob Proctor talk about how you can face your fear, because fear is one of the things that hold people back from going actually change their paradigm, because they fear of going and doing execute something that they really want to do, go and travel somewhere. But when they face it and go through the barrier of fear of lacking, fear of losing, fear of dying, fear of you know get beat up, and then they overcome that and they stand back and realize, without taking action and make mistake and learn from that mistake, I won't be able to stand here and share with you. And I think myself and Mike, our experience in our journey, personally and professionally, part of our success is because of the decision that we make and the desire that we want to go forward no matter what, and then we go and execute it. And myself, and Mike will say that from the hand on the heart, we make a lot of mistakes, but we plan it to and review, and then we adjust it. In my world of biomedical engineer, we service a lot of medical equipment, and when it keep failing, not according to the standard, part of our work is to calibrate that piece of equipment, which either we install a new program into that software that operate this machine, or we have to upgrade some part internally to it. And it's the same thing with us human beings. Either we, if you are tired, if you not feeling well, you got to do something about it. You got to see a doctor. So the doctor will tell you to, eat well, and it's your lifestyle. It's not the food that you eat, or whatever activity you're doing, because that's how you're moving forward in life, because you go out and do it. And when you do it and you don't get the result, keep doing it, review and adjust it. And our mind is a powerful thing, and I think a lot of great leaders in the world, they are great because of not the things that they do, but the thing that come from their mind, because they have learned to use their mind. They learn to use. And I can finish it, that Mike, with final thought. Because when you decided to think, that's when you don't react to any situation. Because what happened to in the world, what happened to your friend, to your parents, was happened to everyone. But it's how we respond instead of reacting to the circumstance that happened in our life. So when you respond, that's when you actually think. You stop, you pause, you ask question. Who am I? What can I do? How can I serve better? How can I become good at this? How can I feel good, think good, and do good in life? And that's when your world will start to change. And go out there and have a go. In Australia, one of the slang that I love in Australia is the people here. Sometimes when it's tough, when the journey is getting tough, just have a go. Whether you play sport, whether you try to build a business, whether you invest in something, whether you try to get better in your career, or anything that you do in life, have a go. And if you fail again. Plan to review, adjust, and keep going. Okay, go out there and have a go. And thank you very much. It's the episode 132, I believe. And paradigm, shift your paradigm, because it's very important. And remember, paradigm is a big word for a lot of people, but it's the operating system in your mind. You can change it. Myself and Mike can change it. If we can change it, you can change it too. So go out there and make a positive impact in other people's life today. Mike, thanks for the opportunity.
Joey, thank you, because your analogy of operating system has really kind of helped clear up the kind of confusion that I had around paradigm. Do you know what I mean? So understanding the operating system, this is that thing that's running in the background, which sometimes runs slow. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I go on blue screen, right? But again, now I have an understanding of it. I can mentally, see how that operating system is controlling everything. Do you know? And again, you're talking about, listen, you've got to upgrade the operating system, get a higher version. And these are those, these goals and dreams and ambitions and everything else. I love it. Joey. Amazing. Thank you so much. And as Joey says, this is episode 132. And of course, paradigm shift and an in-depth explanation. I think Joey's given it to us. Do you know what I mean? It's about, upgrading this operating system. But look, you've been watching Freedom, Health and Lifestyle. This is personal development with a business plan. Don't forget, reach out to Joey. You can find him on Facebook. Go to petsoftheisland.com/academy to learn more and get in touch with me. Book a call where you can find out more. I should really put all those links in the description. They're not there right now, but I will put them in. They'll definitely be in next week's show notes. And again, look, what does Joey say? Go out and have a go. That's it. Just go out and have a go. Right, we're going to play out with this. Same video every week. Doesn't change, but we learn from it. Act, walk, talk like you're already there. This is going to teach you how to increase that operating system. This is what it's all about, guys. Right, see you next week.
You see, we are created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers. Free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. It takes guts. It takes goals. Now, do you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, by God, I'm going to change something. I always say, keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you, and therefore you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Now all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You've got to create a sense of urgency. I'm going to do it right now.
If you can see it, you can do it. But the beautiful truth is you can do anything. We got to know there is a place. There is a specific frequency. And if you get on that frequency, you're going to attract what you need to you. This is what it's all about. Why have you been endowed with such awesome powers? If you'll make a committed decision, this I'm going to do. And you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how. The second you make the committed decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that you have to be on to attract what you have to attract to manifest the thing that you want. If you can see it, you can do it. It's got to be something you want. Wants come from inside. Act like you're already there. Walk, talk, speak, live like you're already there. Don't set a small goal. Don't set something that doesn't really wind your step. Set it so big it jazzes you. It really gets you going. When something of a very high nature resonates with the very high side of you, you'll know it. You'll know it. You will feel it. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. The only prerequisite, do you want it? Not do you need it, not could you do it. The only prerequisite is, do you want it? Take the lid off your marvelous mind and dream. For goodness sake, give yourself the right to do that. Get your analytical mind out of the way. Put it in your pocket for a while. All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. What did Lawrence say? All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind waken the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. This I did.